Record.
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to devotees to today's class. Today we are going to be discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 15, verse 38. We are in the section where Maharaj Yudhisthira decides to leave the kingdom. And because Lord Krishna has left, he is sensing the manifestation or the appearance of Kali, but he wants to leave his kingdom in the safe hands. So this is where we are at right now. We are very happy to have His Holiness Candramauli Swami with us. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to you and Prabhupada Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Suya. My obeisances. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Okay, we begin. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Saral Pautram Vinayenam Atmanam Susaman Gunai Toya Nivyapatim Bhumir Yasinachad Kujavaye. Thereafter, in the capital of Hastinapur, he enthroned his grandson, who was trained and equally qualified as the emperor and master of all land bordered by the sea. Purport: the total land on earth bordered by the seas was under the subjugation of the king of Hastinapur. Maharaj Yudhisthira trained his grandson, Maharaj Parikshit, was equally qualified in state administration in terms of the king's obligation to the citizens. Thus, Parikshit was enthroned on the seat of Maharaj Yudhisthira prior to his departure back to Godhead. Concerning Maharaj Parikshit, the specific word used, Vinayinam, is significant. Why was the king of Hastinapur, or at least till the time of Maharaj Parikshit, accepted as the emperor of the world? The only reason is that the people of the world were happy because of good administration of the emperor. The happiness of the citizens was due to the ample production of natural produce such as grains, fruit, milk, herbs, valuable stones, minerals, and everything that people needed. They were even free from all bodily miseries, anxieties of mind, and disturbances caused by natural phenomena and other living beings. Because everyone was happy in all respects, there was no resentment, although there was sometimes battles between the state kings for political reasons and supremacy. Everyone was trained to attain the highest goal of life, and therefore the people were also enlightened enough not to quarrel over trivialities. The influence of the age of Kali gradually infiltrated the good qualities of both the kings and the citizens. And therefore the tense situation developed between the ruler and the ruled. But still, even in this age of disparity between the ruler and the ruled, there can be spiritual emollient and God consciousness. That is a special prerogative. Om Gyan Timidandasya Gana Jana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve. Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pastyatya Satarine Vanchakalpatarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, the concern of the citizens becomes the focus of the leader. And that is real administration. The same way the concern of the parents is the children's welfare. Concern of the spiritual master is the welfare and upliftment spiritually of his disciples. The concern of the teachers in the schools is that the students become tested where they can qualify and get good marks on their exam and find what we say, their occupation in life. So each of the leader has his main concern is those he leads. It's not about getting aggrandizement or some profit for the position that one holds, such as people want to stay in office even though they're not qualified to be in office. People are complaining about them, even trying to work to remove them, but still they're fighting to keep their position and not trying to improve the quality of their leadership by making the citizens the focus of their, and here it says, the happiness of the citizen was due to the auspiciousness of a king. And this is also a feature of material energy. When the king is pious and the king rules according to Dharma, then the land, the nature, will also reward both the king and the citizens. The citizens will have what they need for good health, for maintaining their responsibilities in the world, such as occupation and family members. And they will have everything they need and to expand the good fortune of their rule. And everything is provided by nature. So a king or a ruler is concerned about the citizen, and he sees himself not simply as a leader, but as a servant who's leading in the position, who's serving in the position of leadership. That is the principle of life. This is the absolute principle of life, which makes life progressive and successful. No one is master. Ekala Isha Krishna Asagrita. The only master is Krishna. And everyone else is subordinate. And everyone is meant to serve the Supreme. And in the same way, in any powerful position, everyone is simply in a position to serve others so they can have everything they need nicely and also give them direction on how they can make progress in spiritual life. Therefore, many of the kings from the Vedic culture were Rajarsis, they were Rajarisis. They were not simply administrators. They were actually saintly kings who had the quality to rule, but at the same time, they were also devotees of the Lord. And they took advice from the Brahmins They follow very carefully Brahminical principles and rule based in that way. Of course, there's always deviations, there's always anomalies that happen. But as we go back in time, we find that the anomalies were less. Now there are only anomalies. Uh, the leaders will do anything, or the candidates for leadership will do anything to get in power. They will cheat, they will lie, they'll make false promises. They'll make all kinds of statements which they cannot, knowing they cannot fulfill those, just to get the vote. Just like we see nowadays. The leaders will come to a faith group or a group of particular people who are of a certain culture, and they'll go there and they'll patronize that group. And they may say so many nice things about the group, which they read about beforehand before they go. And so when it comes to the voting, then they got that block of people to vote for them. So their whole propaganda is getting into office. And when they get into office, then they usually steal from the treasury, pad their own, pockets, and make policies that are contrary to the welfare of the citizens. They have wars with other nations, and they enlist people for these wars. And people serve under the guidance of these leaders, and then a lot of times they lose their life because the leaders nowadays, what do they fight over? Economic gain, territorial proprietorship, or some kind of ethnic hatred. Years ago, there was also, as it mentions here, sometimes there were wars in the kingdoms here too. And sometimes one king would see that another king was not up to the standard, and therefore he would try to overthrow that kingdom, take his kingdom so he could rule that kingdom also in a better way. So his motivation was to give better rulership to the areas where other kings were not ruling as nicely. So generally the citizens became the focus of the leadership's programs. Now you can't trust anyone. Now we go to the voting polls, and people who still vote always think which of the two people that I vote for will do the less harm. Not about who's going to do the best, which one will do the less harm. And we find, especially in the United States of America, more than 50% of the population do not even vote anymore. They know what is the use. They just get, and this is the feature of Kali Yuga. If we hear from the Srimad Bhagavatam, it describes the qualities of Kali Yuga. And one of the most profuse areas of discussion is the degradation of the ruling class. And they follow no rules, no regulations, and they exploit the citizens as much as they can. They may give something back just to pacify people in a temporary way, but their only program is their own self-aggrandizement. To get into these offices to make a lot of money, so when they get out of office, they can live nicely on a large amount of money that they stole during the time that they were in the leadership position. So this is Kali Yuga. Manda manda sumata mateo manda bhagu padvitaha. Srila Prabhupada very strongly was speaking about leadership in the world and how both in the scientists, teachers, the administrators, none of them are qualified. And they're all rogues, thieves, dacoits, cheaters, no good qualities. But somehow they have some intelligence to maneuver themselves into the position of leadership. That is called dus kritina. Kritina means meritorious. And dus means opposite. That means although they had their intelligence is used for selfish interests or damaging activities. There's sukritina, that is good intelligence applied in the proper way. That's Krishna consciousness or pious activities. So here we see. So the concern of Maharaj Yudhisthira is that he wants to make sure that the citizens get the best possible rule. So he has trained his grandson, Maharaj Parikshit, to take the throne. And then, of course, as you go on in the Bhagavatam, you start to hear more about Maharaj Parikshit, his qualities, his leadership, everything about him. That's also there in the first canto. So this is the concern of the present administration, to think about who will follow me and how and what quality of leadership should be there, or a good quality of leadership. So they're always concerned about the citizens, even when they're not ruling. They have that, and that is the nature of the Kshatriya class. We have the four Varnas, Brahman, who are the priestly class. They teach, preach, give advice to the administrators on how to rule the kingdom, based on Manu Samhita and other scriptures. We have the Kshatriya class, who are fighters, protectors, and persons who know how to rule. They extract taxes from the citizens, but they give everything back in the form of the amenities that people need. And then you have the Vaishyas. They are the mercantile class. They deal in trade and banking and commerce. And at the same time, they are very much focused on taking care of animals, especially cows, and producing the food that the society needs. And then you have the Sudras, which are workers who give support to the other three accordingly. They become dependent. The Brahmins and the Kshatriyas are not dependent on anyone. And the Vaishyas are somewhat independent also, but the Sudras are completely dependent because they require to work under the leave. A Brahmin will never take the position of a servant of others. He will serve others in his role as in a Brahminical teachings or Brahminical guidance. But for his personal welfare, he will not take up an occupation to make money. Prabhupada said a Brahmin will starve before he takes the occupation of a Sudra. And in the Vedic system, it says that even if the Brahmin has nothing to eat, he will go to the fields and see which grains are fallen down from the crops. Once the crops are harvested, collect those grains, and he will take them and bring them and cook him, and then he'll have something to eat. So a Brahmin is not a beggar. A Brahmin is one who leads society accordingly. So when Srila Prabhupada started the ISKCON movement, he wanted to create a class of Brahmins, someone who they have all of the good qualities, as mentioned in the Shastras. We were discussing that last time, the 12 qualities of a Brahmana, which are mentioned in the Sanat Sujata, and the 9 qualities that are mentioned by Krishna in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And they lead by qualities. They lead by knowledge of Scripture. They know Scripture. They can teach Scripture like that. And they receive the benefits, just like Prabhupada would say that many times when in the traditional Hindu society, the teachers in the classrooms, the students would bring them gifts, sometimes food, sometimes clothing, and other amenities for their personal use. So they wouldn't take a salary for teaching, but they would simply receive whatever they needed on the goodwill of the people that they lead. Brahmins are astrologers. They also know astrology, real astrology, not the astrology that people read books and think they can understand it. Astrology takes years and years and years of training and understanding and application. There are many, many great astrologers, even today in the world, who can predict the future. Not too many of them are left, but there are a group of them still. So Brahmins or astrologers, Brahmins also were Kavirajas. They could give medical advice. They wouldn't administer medicine. That was done by usually the I think the doctors or the Kavirajas were in the class of Vaishyas, I think, generally. But they're more of a mixed occupation, according to Varna. But the Brahmins, they would give medical advice to people in general, spiritual advice, and just like we see Sanatana Goswami is a nice example. He used to go to the villages, the different sections of Vrindavan, and stay with the people in their different homes. He would visit different homes and he would talk to them. He would say, how is your crops today? How is the family members doing? He would be very much concerned about their personal needs and their personal activities. And he would also give advice when it was when asked for. And the people in the villages loved him so much that when he had to leave one section and go to the next, the areas he was leaving, they would sometimes follow him, not wanting him to go. And he developed such a friendship with and such a affection. They had developed an affection for him, and he developed such a compassion for people that it became such a wonderful experience of loving relationships based on service and providing what people need, advice. Nowadays, when people want advice, they have to pay for it, or they read books to try to get their own advice, or they take advice from someone, and then the advice turns into be not instead of advice, it turns into be vice. So yeah, nowadays everything is under the control of commodity or sales. Anything you want, you have to buy. Brahmins would not charge anything for education. The Brahmins would not charge anything for medical advice. And everything was done freely as a service. And therefore they were dependent on the citizens for their personal welfare. And the citizens being grateful, naturally, towards the Brahmins, would give them everything they need and even more. When Ramachandra, Lord Ramachandra, at one time wanted to reward the Brahmins for all of their services, he gave them so much wealth that it was impossible for them to even calculate how much wealth he gave them. But they responded, they thanked the king for his generosity, And they returned everything back to the king and saying, use this to manage the state. They didn't even accept it. There's another example how when you Yudhisthira Maharaj was about to perform the Rajasuya sacrifice, they needed gold. The treasuries were depleted because of the war, and there was no money for the Rajasuya sacrifice. So Yudhisthira sent out Arjuna to try to gather some wealth from different places. So people used to eat on gold plates in those days, and then they would throw the plates in a pile. So they were collecting those plates. But then Krishna gave advice to Arjuna that there was one king who rewarded the Brahmins for their services, and he gave them mountains and mountains of gold and jewels. But they were thinking, the Brahmins thinking, how are we going to even carry this? So they didn't take it. They just left it in a pile. And so Krishna told Arjuna, that pile is there. You can go. And you can take that and use it for the Rajasuya sacrifice. Krishna knew the history. People would not touch that. In the Vedic culture, if something didn't belong to anyone, rightfully, even if it was laying in the road, they would not touch it. They would think, oh, someone has lost this wealth, they'll come back and pick it up. They would never take anything simply because it was available. So all of that gold was just sitting there. But Krishna told Arjuna, this is what you want to go for. And by the mercy of Krishna, Arjuna found it, and then that was just enough what they needed to have all of the expenses covered for the Rajasuya sacrifice. So in real Vedic culture, there is no struggle for money. There is no struggle for there's some, I mean, some of that is there to some degree, but not like it is now. Everything is a commodity. Whatever you want, you have to pay for. And even if the quality is not good, still it's sold as a commodity. And then people find themselves being shorthanded or cheated by getting inferior things or things that don't work. That's Kali Yuga. So the welfare of the citizens pretty much is the essence of this particular discussion here, and how that becomes the concern of the leaders who take the positions of rulers within the world. If you get a good leader in the world, after some time he's kicked out, or he is something is done to defame him, so he becomes destroyed. Even today, there was a couple good leaders. There was King Devendra, who was leading what was that place? Manipur. He was a Krishna conscious ruler for many, many years. Even when Prabhupada was there, he was there. In the Islamic rule, there was one leader named Gaddafi. He was a follower of Khalil Gibran, the famous mystic poet who was God conscious. Who's a God conscious mystic poet. So, once in a while, a good leader will come in there, but after some time, they're thrown out because there's always some. We had John F. Kennedy. I can't say his character on a personal level wasn't ideal, but he did have the welfare of the citizens. That was one quality about Kennedy, who ruled the United States. He was concerned about helping the citizens, giving them what they need, like that. He was a leader in that sense. But therefore, when he went too far in that direction, he got killed, because it's not good policy to be too much for the citizens. You have to be able to be a good a person who knows how to cheat other competitors, so the kingdom expands more and more. Yeah. Okay, so we'll stop here and see if there is any discussion.
Thank you so much, Marge, for such a wonderful class, um and concluding it with the essence is the welfare of the citizens. Thank you for culminating the whole lecture. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to request devotees, if you are able to, please, wherever you are, if you can please show your video, and so that we can take each other's association, and see each other. And also, if you have any questions, please do raise your hand if you have a question. Mother Tirtha, do you have a question, Mother? You have your mic on. Okay. It must have been an accident. Okay. Does anyone else has a question? Please do raise your hand. Marge, go ahead, Sri Devi. And you look like you are in a beautiful globe outside of the some of the universe.
Just in a dear friend's house. So they are the ones who have all this fancy stuff.
Really? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Guru
Go ahead.
Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada. All glories to you, Guru Maharaj. On the subject of saintly rulers and the people they rule, the very last few lines, it says that even though there is disparity and a tense situation between the ruled and the rulers in this age, still there can be God consciousness and spiritual advancement. So, if there is disparity between the rulers and ruled, it means that there is no concern for those who are ruled. Otherwise, why would there be disparity? In such a case, how can the rulers ensure spiritual advancement and so on, as it is said over here, when they themselves are not God conscious?
Yeah, but just like, we can't, can we actually say that we have good God conscious or even pious rulers today? But still,
No.
God consciousness is going on.
Hmm.
It's going on because sometimes they don't interfere with the activities of the spiritual movements, unless the spiritual movements start becoming a threat to the ruling class. For instance, one of our devotees was put in jail. That was many years ago. And he met a CIA agent who was also in jail. There's a whole story behind that. Anyway, the CIA agent told him, the government the United States is watching your movement. And we also have people who are coming into your movement who are, monitoring your activities, reporting them to the government. But what he said was, he said, as long as your movement doesn't disturb the middle class, because the middle class is the breadbasket class of the economic foundation for the society. And so then, but if you start making headways into the middle class and they start becoming, what we say, not so much interested in supporting our systems anymore because of spiritual influences, then we'll do something to stop you. He said, yeah. So governments nowadays, they watch spiritual movements, But the spiritual movements get too powerful, they'll try to stop them. And that's what happened to Christianity. Christianity was getting very powerful. And then they infiltrated Christianity and created dissension amongst. They do that every once in a while. But if we're, and it's even happening now to some degree, because our movement is becoming more and more influential. So yeah, but if it becomes too much, then they'll use more and more clandestine means to destroy the movement, or to waylay the movement, to reduce the effects of the society. Yeah. And sometimes they send in people from their own who become devotees, practice, and then they go away, and then they criticize the movement. And then they say, well, I was a devotee, and then this is what it's like. And they make all kinds of, negative remarks about our movement. So you'll find that also. This is Kali Yuga. And these things can be documented if you do a little research. It's not hard to find. So generally they let things go on. Depends what country it is. There are countries where certain spiritual and religious movements are not allowed. There are other countries where they're allowed under conditions, and there's other countries that have more free hand to move about and propagate these spiritual principles. But the idea is don't get too powerful. To get too powerful, Prabhupada says, if you become more and more powerful, you'll make more and more enemies. But that's our business, to become more and more powerful. So enemies will come. That's just the way it is.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, on that point, so it's like, we are in the catch-22 situation. I feel that, if we become too powerful, then we get more enemies. At the same time, going by this incident with the CIA agent, that if we become powerful, then it's like a threat to the rulers. But then we see this huge building in Mayapur, TOVP, which might be a threat. So as devotees, Maharaj, practicing devotees in our simple daily lives, how do we balance both?
What do you mean?
Meaning, like, there's this fear of, oh my God, so this is what we've been heard, that if we grow and become powerful, we're gonna get issues.
That's our business, is to expand more and more and try to change the whole world towards Krishna consciousness. That was Prabhupada's program. Lord Chaitanya's movement is meant to engulf the entire world. And so there will be enemies who will come out and try to stop us. They killed the Christians.
Yeah. So much as devotees, how can we overcome this fear or this concern that, oh my God, okay, Prabhupada said this, but we know that it's going to create more enemies. So as devotees, how can we make ourselves stronger to get rid of that fear of it's like a threat from the rulers, like how can we become stronger?
Krishna protected devotees. That's the only. Don't worry, Krishna's there. Rake Krishna More Krishna Rake. Krishna will protect. Prabhupada said they'll cause disturbances, and there will be some difficulties, and that will be natural. But if we stay strong in our spiritual life, we're protected. That means we got to strictly follow the 4 regulative principles and every day chant our rounds nicely. Yeah. So Krishna's going to protect you, but still they're going to attack. It's just the way it is. Not that we were afraid of making advancement because this will happen. No, this is the way it is. That's the history of the world.
Pretty deep, Maharaj.
Prabhupada, in one lecture in 1972, he was talking. He says the demons are becoming more and more. Yeah. He says that their demons are only increasing, and they'll give you trouble. But then he used the example of Prahlad Maharaj was harassed by his father, but still Krishna protected him. And then he went on to say, the most important thing is that we have to stay strong in our own. Our purity is our force, like that.
Thank you, Maharaj. It's very deep, very deep.
Yeah,
Would
it's
like
a
to.
war.
Yes, Maharaj, please, Maharaj, go ahead.
It's a war. War against. It's not a war between us and Maya. It's not. It's a war between the godly and the demoniac. War. Demons want to destroy religious principles. They do it in either political ways, so many different ways they try to destroy things. And the devotees want to preach more and more and make more people Krishna conscious.
Maharaj, as you were speaking, I was remembering few, I'm sure many more happened when Prabhupada was on this planet, but I was also remembering few incidences that I've heard of devotees when they go out and preach, and sometimes they end up in jail, and then they get released. And it's so inspiring, Maharaj, to actually see these devotees who were in jail because they were doing Harinam down the streets or book distribution, and they go into jail. Like I was remembering a pastime that I think Balabhadra Prabhu told us about Vishnu Jan Swami when he was in jail, and he was preaching while he was in jail, but fearlessly, like fearlessly.
Well, if you do a little research into the history of the Australian Yatra, we had so much trouble from the local authorities there. We would go out on Harinam book distribution and they would round us up and put us in jail. And then we get out, we go out again. And Prabhupada said, just keep going out. Don't worry. If they put you in jail, you can chant in jail also, he said. So, yeah. And look what happened when we tried to establish that temple in Mumbai. So much resistance that we got. They came in with the municipal man. They started breaking the temples. There was one girl. She was guarding the deities, and they wanted to come and break the deities. She fought against them all by herself, and just in time when somebody called some authorities, and they stopped the whole thing. But they were about to destroy the deities too. You read the history of, you can read it. Giriraj Swami has written that book, Let Me Build You a Temple. It's a wonderful history.
It must something. I'm sorry. I'm going off here. Let me ask if there would like to ask questions. Please do raise your hand. Please raise your hand, and I will definitely, call. I'm just. It's such a beautiful topic. Marge, sometimes when we think of what current devotees in this current age, I mean, like current few years, whatever, we sometimes get so caught up that we think, oh my God, we're really going through so much issues with the government or, with whatever. And we have to remind, at least for myself, I have to remind myself that it didn't just start right now. It even started with during Srila Prabhupada's time, like you said, with the Juhu temple. He fought so much, so it never ended.
Prabhupada said if they knew what I was saying, they would try to kill me. He said that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah, it's a war. The demons are trying to stop us, and the devotees are fighting on behalf of Lord Chaitanya. Look what Lord Chaitanya did when Chand Kasi came and broke the drums and threatened everyone. Lord Chaitanya established mass civil disobedience. He rounded up everyone and started doing Harinam. Because of his presence, millions of people came from all over the universe. They were marching on the Chand Kasi's house. You should read that whole pastime. The best place to read it is in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, but if you read it in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's also quite wonderful. The details of that pastime.
Wow.
They can't stop this Harinam movement, but they'll try to do it in different ways. The Harinam movement is too powerful. It's under the control of the Daivi Shakti, the spiritual energy. But the devotees have to have faith and not be what we say, fearful of what will happen. Krishna will protect. But there will always be casualties too in every war.
Yes, Maharaj. A little cut, a little bruise, a little knock.
Maybe even more than that. No, it's just the way it is. This new movie that just came out, they're trying to destroy our movement with this new movie that just came out.
Yes, I heard about that. I didn't watch it, Marge, but I've heard about it.
It's complete blasphemy, and it's just a lot of falsity there. I don't want to go into that discussion because it's too sticky, but
yes,
that's their latest attempt to undermine our movement, that movie.
Marge, I know that you would know because you were in New Vrindavan during those days, so you will definitely know how misrepresented it might have been.
Yeah, we made some mistakes, but ultimately, we were, and there was one, Prabhupada makes this point. He said there was one congressman from America. He made a public statement. He said, if this Hare Krishna movement continues the way it goes, in 10 years, it'll take over the government.
And they made a statement at that time, Maharaj, in the 70s?
Our movement was really powerful in the US. But they came in and they watered down our movement. They tried to destroy it with the Turley case, with the Robin George case, all of
the Robin
these
George
things.
case, yeah.
Robin George case was a setup by the government. That was even told by that same person who was talking to the devotee in jail. He said, yeah, that whole thing was set up. Yeah.
Amazing. Demons here, there, everywhere. We just got to be strong, Mars, like you said. Amazing.
Prabhupada, he knew how to organize the movement so they couldn't destroy it, at least from the outside. So now they're trying to destroy it through propaganda and through infiltration within the movement.
Marsh, I would like to ask how Srila Prabhupada did it, but I want to take Sri Devi's question because it's been up. So I'll go to you, Sri Devi.
This is a long, yeah.
It was more, what Guru Maharaj said, that in every war there are casualties, and that brought to mind Bhakti Raghav Maharaj, losing his leg when the dacoits came to attack. And then Mother Ladini being shot when she tried to jump in front of the firing squad to protect the devotees, saying you cannot harm Krishna's devotees, and she gave up her life for that. So yeah, that's the just the comment I wanted to make. That's all. Thank you.
Oh, there's so many incidents. Look what happened in Lithuania. They came in and just destroyed our temple, just beat up the devotees really bad, took everything. Same thing in Germany, Argentina, different places that have been attacked, and so many.
And I think during COVID, it happened in the Bangladesh, Maharaj, when they broke into the temple.
Bangladesh, yeah, 3 times they attacked in Bangladesh.
3 times. Yes. 3
In
times.
in America, in 1 week during the COVID time, people attacked Baltimore temple, Washington D.C. temple, and one other temple. Fortunately, the devotees were ready for it, or they were at least they were able to push back the effects, you know. So Prabhupada wanted a class of rulers who were also fighters to protect our movement, the whole Kshatriya Dharma. Yeah. But the Kshatriyas nowadays, they're just working on their own jobs. But that needs to be organized.
Thank you, Marge. Yes, Sridevi, go ahead.
This begs the question, Guru Maharaj, that all of us have natural propensities, and so the Kshatriyas in our movement, isn't it natural for them to want to protect the the sections that need protection, to govern nicely, to make sure that the organization runs well? Where are the Kshatriyas?
They're there. I made a program in 2013 to organize the Kshatriyas. We actually got things going, but then we got some resistance. And things, because of the resistance, things started to fragment. But it's still there. But there are many temples, just like because of that attempt that we made in 2013, at least 2 or 3 temples have now fortified. And if anyone comes in, there's devotees there to protect, you know. And then, of course, we have, now it's a rule to have gates, iron gates in front of the deities to protect the deities, like that. Many temples have security agencies doing the protection, but they don't have that same dedication. They're doing it as a job.
That's so true, Marge. Yeah, I was wondering a few years ago because I did notice some temples had gates in front of the altar, and I was wondering why. I didn't know about that. It was because of protection, but now definitely it's becoming more and more an awareness.
I was there when Vrindavan got attacked back in 1973. I was only in the movement for I wasn't even initiated at that time. Only in the movement about 3 months.
Marge, what were your thoughts at that time when it happened when you were there? Like, what was, how, I'm just curious, how did you take it? How did you handle it?
Well, to answer that question, you have to see the whole scenario, how it played itself
Okay.
out. I had military training, so
Yes.
when they came into the temple, I told the devotees, okay, let's go out. I tried to lead the devotees out the back. But when I went out, we would try to go out to the Pujari room, and then the leader of the motorcycle gang, he stopped me, pointed a knife at me. And he turned me around and said, go back in. And we went back in. Then we started, I told the devotees to chant the Shringa prayers. So we started to loudly chant the Shringa prayers. But the gang got even more crazy and they started yelling and screaming and shooting. So I said, all right, tell the devotees to chant softly then. So then we were chanting softly. But 4 devotees got shot and 1 later died because of, it was a buckshot that couldn't be removed from the person's body and it turned into something gangrene, which produced leukemia, and he
Oh,
died of leukemia. Yeah, so you want to read the details, you can read from the what is that? How what is it? What's the name of the deities in Gita Nagari?
Radha Damodar. Oh, are you talking about Radha Damodar Vilas Maharaj, that book?
Yeah,
By Vyasaki Prabhu.
yeah, the
Oh,
second
geez,
volume.
yes, I did read that book, but that was like good 20 years. Well, yeah, about 20 years ago. I have the book. I should. Much. I think he had part 1 and part 2, right?
It's in part 2, the
Okay,
story
I
of.
don't have part 2. I got only part 1. Okay, I gotta find part 2. Okay,
Yeah.
it's in part 2. Okay. Oh boy, so many amazing pastimes. Yes, Sridevi, go ahead.
I wouldn't call
Sorry,
them.
I'm just, my mind is still stuck on the Kshatriya topic.
You and me both, Prabhu, because we're the ones going back and forth on the questions here.
I'm really concerned. I'm really concerned. That's why I'm asking this. Now we have wonderful, Brahmins all over the place because of Prabhupada's books. And we have people who are reading and giving classes and so on and so on. But what will it take to have Kshatriyas in place so that our society is protected and our society progresses nicely without being disturbed by all these infiltrators and so on and so on?
Well, yeah, it's going on. There's devotees who are working on that now. Since you're in Mayapur, I can introduce you to people who are working in Mayapur for that. But each individual temple has to make an effort. Mayapur is also training boys in martial arts like that. Prabhupada's idea was Varnashram College, which allows people to be working under the care of Brahmins in different varnas. And the Brahmins would be the teachers. And based on their teaching, they would also have a system of evaluation to be able to understand what is the nature of this particular student and how to engage that nature. That's Srila Prabhupada's vision for Varnashram Dharma. So that includes Brahmins, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, those 3. So we have a loose form of Varnashram Dharma in our society. It's just not organized, but it's there. People are working to some degree according to their propensity, but not as an organized way. So things have a tendency to fall through that time. That means people who are not inclined to a particular service are working at that service just as a matter of duty, but it's not their nature. There's a nice book that just came out. It's called Career Dharma, The Natural Art of Work by
I think it's by Mother
Orman.
Urmila, right? Oh, so Rukmini.
Both of them, they combine together.
That's what I thought.
Rukmini is not Prabhupada Rukmini, it's another Rukmini. She stays in Columbus. Yeah. Her name is Ruchira. I met her when I go there. So, yeah. So that's interesting. See, the unfinished business of Prabhupada's movement is Daivivan ashram farm communities. Which includes training of the Varnas, and Bhakti Raghava Swami is moving full force in that direction. So Sri Devi, you're right in the middle of it right now. So you can find out more about it if you want.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, I look forward to it. Thank you very much.
Marge, there's a question here by Vrishabhadas. Hare Krishna, dear Gurudev. Please accept my humble obeisances, all goes to Srila Prabhupada and to you, Gurudev. Is this shastrically to see that the attacks on the temples and the devotees is Krishna's plan to bring devotees back to him or to glorify them? If you could is it appropriate to answer?
I wouldn't use that as, I wouldn't say no. I would say no. It's just a feature of this material world. And so as the more you make advancement, the people are envious. It's not, people are envious. Krishna warns us about it, and he also gives us guidance on how to protect ourselves. But ultimately, it's a feature of the material world. It's just there are people who are demons, there are people who are envious, there are people who are ignorant and don't understand our movement. It's the way it is. This is the material world. You can expect that.
Hope that helped, Vrishabhadas Prabhu. You could put a post if you would like, if that was a
If you want to find out more, there's a devotee in, his name is Vishnu Murti. He's a devotee in Croatia. He's involved with Kshatriya. I met him when we did our program for Kshatriya Dharma. The Croatians are all Kshatriyas, that particular culture.
They could we could use some ship from there to here, March in US. We have some in US, but they tend to be in the dormancy mood sometimes, in the sleeping mood. So I think they need to be like Jeev Jago.
The thing is, they're not being engaged. That's why.
Marge, Vrishabhadas is asking Vishnu Murti Prabhu. That's he's just confirming.
It's all confirming.
Okay.
So it's not Krishna's arrangement that these things are happening.
Yeah.
It's just a feature of preaching in the material world. That's all.
Mm.
You can expect it. That's what's going to happen.
Wow. Really deep.
I mean, there's so many stories of attacks in many of our temples. Small things that were bigger, and then some really gigantic attacks.
Amazing. Yes, Sridevi, go ahead. It's you and me today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much for tolerating me and permitting my nonsense. But I just have to ask, Guru Maharaj, is it because our movement is so young and we are just in the, like they say, teething phase of growth? If you look at the next 10,000 years, we are just around for, yeah, what, 65 years? That's how old we are since the movement 65? So, is it because we are just in the beginning phase of the movement that we still don't have all the things in place? We don't have the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras. We are still building on what Prabhupada wants. Is that what is happening right now? That in the future this will expand, take root, and go on to become the Varnashram society that Prabhupada wants to see?
Well, Prabhupada gave us the formula. He spelled out everything, how the movement should go on. all there, and all you do is put it together. The main thing is the Harinam Sankirtan movement. It's powerful. Demons are afraid of Harinam. They do everything they can to find it, either to try to stop us through legislation or other ways, you know.
March, actually, I was just thinking from Sri Devi's question, when she was mentioning how our movement is young, considerably compared to any other religion. And then Prabhupada says that this will go on for 10,000 years. It is already so bad, March. I can't imagine how scary it's going to be even like 50 years from now, let alone
Yeah,
10,000 years.
it's exciting.
Hare Krishna. I will try to look at it that way.
Exciting.
There's never a boring moment of March, is what I say. No time for Maya.
Lord Chaitanya is there, and his plan is Priti Vitti Achi Anaganadi Gram. Yeah. In every town and village. He's going to make it happen. Prabhupada says, if you don't do it, the next generation will do it. And if they don't do it, the next generation. So it'll happen. It's happening. Actually, what he said was, your children's children will take Krishna consciousness around the world.
March, it's interesting because I was talking about it with Pritchard, and him and I were reminding each other that that's what was said, that what you just said, our children's children will be the one that's going to be marching forward with this full speed.
Yeah, that's your kids.
Oh, my kids. Oh, I thought it was my kids.
Well, when he said your children's children, he was referring to the Prabhupada disciples. So you're a disciple of Prabhupada, so you're the first, and so it's. Yeah.
We gotta prepare our kids. Okay, we got work to do. Okay, Sri Devi, we got work to do, Sri Devi.
A lot of work to do.
Oh, Maharaj. And it just amazes me when some people say, but is there any service? I said, yeah, there is service. You got work to do. And they just think there's nothing to do.
Stay strong in your sadhana
Mhm.
and read Prabhupada's books and take part in preaching as much as you can. All of these things are bringing Krishna consciousness forward in the world. And the character of our devotees and the strength of their practice is the force that will bring about change.
Wow.
We don't have to do a lot. Most of it is about working on ourselves and at the same time preaching Krishna consciousness.
Amazing, March. Amazing. Thank you.
We
Lots.
we won't be effective if we are weak in our own spiritual life.
Mm. Definitely a lot of food for thought today, no doubt. A lot of food for thought, Maharaj. Amazing. Thank you. Any questions from devotees? Please take the floor. I know Sri Devi and I have been going back and forth, but it's an open forum. So please, if you have any questions, any comments, any, clarification, please do raise your hand. And I'm just going down the list so that I don't miss anyone. If there isn't, I hope myself and Sri Devi didn't bore any of you with our question. Sri Devi's laughing out. But it's just so, really intriguing. Really, really. Thank you, Marge. Marge, yes, I was about to say that. Yes, Marge, yes, we will chant one round with Marge. Got it, Marge.
Yay. Ready to go. Don't just leave your camera on and don't chant. Chant. Some devotees do that. They just leave the camera on and they do something else. Everyone should chant. Give support. Jai Sri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Sivasadi, Gaur, Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakti Vrindan Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Thank you so much for a wonderful class. And we thank all the devotees for joining us. Vanchakaptabhyascha Kripasindabevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
His Holiness Chandramauli Swami Ki
Jai.
Jai. Have a
Jai.
wonderful the rest of the day wherever we are at. Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank
Krishna,
you, Guru
Mataji.
Maharaj. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
And this is my second japa.
Hari Bol.
Haribol! Kshatriya,
My,
come on, come on!
my second japa.
Yeah, he's a
They're
chanter.
waiting. They're waiting some help. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Come
Hare
on, Mayapur, you've got to train lots of Kshatriyas.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Anasuya, for yet another enlivening class and excellent comparing as always, enlivening all of us. Very grateful to you and
Thank
very
you for
grateful to
allowing
the
me.
devotees.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare